So you got yourself an S650 Mustang, in this case, my dark horse, and you're wondering, should you get a Whipple? Roush is going to be coming out with their supercharger. What's going on with ProCharger? Let's talk about all three options that are going to soon be available for these cars and see what the pros and cons are and which one would be best for you. So first, let's pop the hood and talk about the very first supercharger that's available, and they partnered with Ford, is Whipple. Now, Whipple is a pretty good supercharger company, let's be honest. They've upgraded their Whipple to be very cooling efficient. The cooling is amazing, and instead of two throttle bodies, they use one big one. But they use a dual intake system that goes into one throttle body. Now, what are the benefits of the Whipple overall? Like I said, cooling. Cooling is a lot better on this generation of the Whipple. And Whipple is really good at high horsepower applications. Now, what is a downfall? Downfall is it doesn't produce a lot of torque. So if you like day-to-day driving and you like a lot of torque and you have the rear setup to do it, in this case I don't, but if you have the rear setup to handle all that torque. Another thing I guess you can say is the Whipple calibration. Now, this is just going to be a native on all the products, but you have to use Whipple's calibration, and it seems like you have to use some kind of octane adder. Maybe not for the stage 1, but stage 2, they highly recommend using octane booster or like an E30 run. So that could be a negative. It just depends on who you are. And I could be completely wrong on the stage 2. I know for a fact stage 1 you can run 91 octane 93. Stage 2 adds a lot bigger throttle body. It's like 120 millimeter, I want to say. And it just so much air is shoved into the engine that you need more octane. But that's it with the Whipple. So Whipple's pretty good, just to reiterate. It's very, very good at cooling. Huge potential for high horsepower when tuning does get unlocked. Negatives, octane booster and whatnot for right now, and also you don't get as much torque. Now, let's talk about the second option that literally just got teased and is going to be released in July. And I put 2 videos on the channel literally just recently, is the Roush Supercharger. Now, what are the positives of the Roush Supercharger? It looks to be a Magnuson TVS, so that means a lot of torque, more torque than the Whipple Superchargers. 2, it is retaining the factory dual throttle body setup. So now, how much power will that sustain? We're not sure, but the number 2 thing is it looks sick. It looks sick. Like, I don't care who you are, that looks sick. Now, number 3 is their supercharger whine, and I'll go ahead and play that real quick. It sounds like a damn Hellcat. Not exactly the same, but that is awesome. Whine is definitely cool. The Whipple can whine, but you have to spend extra money and route. It's a whole mess. It's not worth the money. But that's pretty sick. Now, the negatives. With it being a TVS supercharger and dual inlets, is it going to be able to produce a lot of high horsepower when tuning gets unlocked? We're not sure. We're going to have to see. 2, and same thing with Whipple, so it's going to be the same for all of them, is you're going to have to use Roush's calibration. There is no tuning. That will always be a negative. 3, now we don't know, but are we going to have to use octane booster E30? Are we going to have to use some kind of additive? We don't know. Obviously, I'll provide an update video when the Roush and everything gets updated. We will provide an update video, but until then, we can only speculate. Now, here's a 4th point that's not necessarily a negative. How much is it going to cost? It's got a lot more material if you're using dual throttle bodies. The supercharger looks pretty big. How much is it going to cost? We don't know. So that's kind of like not a negative or a positive, more like a neutral. Is it going to be cheaper than the Whipple? If it does, very, very good deal. We just have to see what the power output's going to be. And number 4, if you guys haven't seen the channel at all, our last Mustang had a ProCharger on it, and that thing was an absolute monster. It was a monster. It's currently with the new owner doing low 4s, mid 4s, 60, 130. He added a couple more pounds of boost. The thing is an animal. Here's something interesting. Ken, the owner of Palm Beach Dyno, put this comment on one of the posts in a Facebook group, and he said that ProCharger is working on their tune right now. They pretty much have a tune, so ProCharger is going to be coming. And what's cool is I'll put a picture on the video here of kind of what it looks like. They're utilizing the dual throttle body setup too, and it looks pretty cool. And ProCharger, one thing that's nice, here's a pro, is it runs very cool. They're lightweight compared to a damn 200-pound supercharger on the engine. It's lightweight overall. It's very, very, very efficient, and it doesn't hurt the drivetrain that much. Now, the negative to that is it doesn't produce a lot of torque, but they are huge horsepower monsters up top, and if you like roll racing, they're fantastic. I can't say enough about ProCharger. They drive like stock too. It's absolutely insane how stock they drive. A lot of people are saying the Whipples drive like stock until you get on it. I get that, but ProCharger has that nailed down. A negative would be you have no torque down low. You have to be higher in the RPM range, but I still think it's a really good setup. We're just gonna have to see what the numbers are gonna be. Another negative, can't do tuning. You're gonna have to use ProCharger's tuning. That will always be a negative, like I mentioned before. So overall, what do you guys think? Do you like the Whipple more? Are you excited for the Roush? Are you gonna go ProCharger? Are you gonna wait? As far as expenses go, I'm seeing Whipple probably being the most expensive, followed by Roush, and then ProCharger. ProCharger just seems to be really good depending on which one you get, and I'm sure ESS will follow too. So it really depends on your goals for the car and what you're going to do. Do you want a high horsepower supercharger? That's going to be Whipple. Do you want a combination of really good horsepower and torque? That's going to be the TVS Roush. Do you want huge high horsepower potential, a little bit safer on the driveline parts, and really be able to send this to the moon with that not that much cost of Whipple? That'd be a ProCharger. Now, it might sound like that I'm a ProCharger fanatic and I'm saying you should get them over the others. No. I'm just giving you my honest feedback, having owned a ProCharger and supercharger cars. So it all depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to drag race, roll race, look at the three products and choose which one is best for you. That's it with me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, what you would go with, and I'll see you guys in the next one.